The state of agriculture is something that's widely discussed, as it is the backbone of the Indian economy. We're in the middle of the monsoon season in India, and one hopes that it will be consistent and beneficial to farmers. To discuss the current state of agriculture and some of the reform measures that have been passed over the last few years, I'm honored to introduce Mr. Siraj Hussain, who is a 1979 batch IAS officer. He served the government under various capacities, and he is one of the foremost experts on agricultural reform. Mr. Hussain most recently worked as Joint Secretary in the Department of Food and Public Distribution. He is currently Senior Fellow at the Indian Council for Research on International Economic Relations. Mr. Hussain, thank you so much, firstly, for agreeing to join me here on Swell. I will follow this up with 3 questions, and I'm really looking forward to hearing your thoughts on them. Mr. Hussain, to start off, there are some serious concerns at the level of rising inflation in the country, especially at the wholesale level. Can you give us a sense of the current state of inflation and what do you make of it when compared to historical trends? Secondly, sir, the privatization of agriculture has been an ongoing process, especially since the passing of the 1991 reforms. But the promulgation of the Farm Ordinance last year resulted in serious uproar among various quarters, especially farmers and agricultural groups. What did you think of the way these laws were passed? And I know you've written extensively on the subject, especially in terms of what these laws consisted of. But what did you think of the substance, and can you give us an idea of the measures and the state of agricultural marketing in the country? And my final question, Mr. Hussain, is in the month of May, the government decided to ban wheat exports in order to conserve stocks domestically. What is your reading of this particular decision? And in terms of the global scenario, the current concern is the ongoing Russia-Ukraine war. How do you think this will impact the state of agriculture globally? And with that, I just want to thank you again for this conversation. We're really looking forward to hearing your responses to these questions. I will follow this up with a conclusion, but thank you so much, sir, for giving us your time this morning.
So right now the situation is quite peculiar, and the wholesale price inflation is much higher than the retail price inflation. So this situation is quite unusual. Now, food inflation has been high in the last 1 year, especially after the Russian invasion of Ukraine. And one of the major reasons was the shortfall in global supply of several food commodities like wheat, edible oils, etc. Indonesia also imposed a ban on export of palm oil, so that also contributed to food inflation. So right now food inflation is high, but the good news is that the prices have been moderating, especially those of edible oils. And if the Russian wheat and Ukrainian wheat enters the market, then prices of wheat will also come down. However, there are concerns about the Indian monsoon, and if the monsoon rains in North India, that is Uttar Pradesh, Bihar, West Bengal, Jharkhand, continue to be short, then I think the production of rice will be adversely affected. So we can say that in 22-23 we can expect a high rate of inflation. Those of you who want to know more about it can have a look at our article which was published in the print 2 days back with Shweta Saini, me and Pulkit Khatri. Actually, agriculture marketing has been a subject of discussion with the state governments, that is between the center and the state governments, for over 2 decades. However, this was the first time that the center enacted a law on a subject which is primarily in the domain of the states. So that is why many states agitated against it, and the farmers also agitated. See, the thing is that the Indian surpluses of agricultural production are very marginal, and that is why we have seen even after the promulgation of the ordinance, immediately after the promulgation of the ordinance in June 2020, the government banned the export of onion. And after that, since then, a number of steps have been taken by the government to discourage exports and to conserve the stocks within the country, which means that the reform thought through the Essential Commodities Act was not found implementable by the government itself. As far as the other two reforms are concerned, that is contract farming and free agriculture marketing, I think many states have since reduced the marketing fee for agricultural commodities. For example, Madhya Pradesh made it zero for export of wheat this year. It is a different matter that the central government banned the export of wheat. So a number of states have taken these steps, but even now there are several states where the marketing fee continues to be high. As long as the surpluses are marginal, I think we will continue to see restrictions on movement and on export and restrictions on stocks, which will be imposed by the government from time to time. So the basic problem is that of fluctuation in production due to natural causes like climate change, excessive rains or shortfall in rains, which results in the interventions brought by the government at various points of time. I think going forward, the states will continue to weigh their options, and some states will surely take up the reforms needed to make agriculture marketing more free. In the end, however, I would like to say that if most of the trading of agricultural commodities moves out of the APMC yards, then the government will not have any data whatsoever about the price at which a commodity is sold. And without reliable data, government policies cannot be made. So this whole idea of permitting trading outside the APMC yards just on the basis of a PAN card, I think was not properly discussed, and therefore the government would have realized by now that it is not in the best interest of agriculture to not have any data at all about the prices and quantity of agricultural commodities which are traded. As far as the ban on wheat export is concerned, I think the government took into account the reports which were coming in the media about the loss to wheat crop due to excessive heat in March. The government's estimate of wheat production was 111 million tons. Later on, the government revised that estimate to about 106 million tons. But the trade feels that the production is
Mr. Hussain, thank you so much for sharing your thoughts on those important questions. I just wanted to make a minor correction. In my introduction, I did state that you were most recently working as Joint Secretary. But for those listening, I'd like to state that Mr. Hussain was Joint Secretary until 2009-10 and was formerly Agricultural Secretary and is currently Senior Fellow at iCryo. So my apologies for that, and apart from that, I'd like to thank you again, sir, for taking the time out this morning to connect with me on Swell. And I'm really looking forward to having you back here to discuss agriculture and other important policy topics. Thanks again, sir.